Oh, this is stupid. Yeah, really stupid. Really stupid. So this is Mike Star Turtle back here. This time I'm going to be doing a review of the video game tie-in novel Halo: The Fall of Reach by Eric Newland. Or Nyland. I think it's Nyland. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we all know what Halo. Oh, okay, may not all know what Halo is. I'm sure we all have at least heard of it. It's probably one of the biggest video game franchises. Well, okay, it was. I think Call of Duty. As far as first-person shooter goes, Call of Duty is probably the biggest one. Though Halo was for a while. The problem is they're almost entirely Xbox exclusive. I really hate game exclusives. They should always release it on all platforms or as many platforms as possible. But that's another video. Yeah, so obviously Halo Combat Evolved came out back in 2001. It was pretty much the next GoldenEye as far as console shooters went. Like just but yeah, November 2001. It pretty much changed. It changed the way console first-person shooters were made and all that stuff, and and I believe it was probably the original Xbox's biggest launch title. Now, a lot of people don't, even Halo fans don't know. Well, is that actually right like a month before the game was released, there was a prequel novel through Del Rey Books, which of course is what I'm reviewing, Fall of Reach, which. Okay, so obviously the game, the perspective of the game, the actual game Halo was all about the Master Chief, a cybernetic super soldier known as a Spartan, designated 117. We don't never know his real name in the game until later games, but his real name is John. I forget his last name, but and of course he had this AI companion named Cortana, and she was pretty much for all intents and purposes, the main character of the game because the chief himself never talked. In fact, when he did actually talk, it was kind of the first time in the game. It was kind of surprising because he was up to that point he'd been almost silent protagonist. But yeah, so of course humanity's at war with this religious fanatically religious alien race or mixture of alien races called the Covenant and all that stuff. And then they land on this big, huge, terraformed planetary ring thing that's hard to explain, but the second when you look at and you see the game, you'll know it's not. And there's dark secrets behind that. And it's an ancient alien artifact. No, anyway. Well, the game was known for its story, but the story wasn't really that deep. For console first-person shooters, it was surprisingly dense, but it wasn't that big of a story. Personally, it was interesting, but yeah, the story for the most part, the story was cool, had some cool ideas, but it wasn't. This novel, however, rectifies that. But the novel takes place years. Actually, no, it actually takes place over the span of quite a few years. I forget the exact. It's been a while since I read it, but we find out how Master Chief and all the other Spartans originally came to be. It's actually kind of horrific. They were all children, who have been chosen for their genetic. I guess their genetic purity and their young strength at the age of 6, abducted from their parents by the shadowy government intelligence group, and pretty much forced into training, kind of like the actual Greek Spartans in real life, and eventually cybernetic enhanced. And I'm not going to spoil too much, but that whole first part of the book is all about that. And it wasn't even because of the Covenant. There was just some civil unrest, and there was a sort of a civil war going on in some parts of because obviously humanity's colonized stars, and there are lots of different planets, and the United Nations Space Council is the number one government in charge of everything, but a lot of people don't like them, especially in the colonies. But yeah, so basically just because of a slight civil war and kind of a sci-fi type war on terrorism is the main reason they created these soldiers. They hadn't even made contact with the Covenant yet, but which I won't get into that, but eventually later the Covenant do make themselves known. They declare full-out war on humanity, and Spartans are the few things that give me any hope, even though humanity's very clearly losing the war because they're just totally outmatched by the government's advanced technology. But the whole second and third acts are all about the war. Master Chief John 117. You just call him the Chief. I'm used to calling him John because I read the books, but yeah, basically, like I said, we learn all about his training, how he first meets Cortana. We also learn about his the creator of the Spartan program, a Dr. Catherine Halsey, a interesting layered character who's ruthless and remorseful, but I won't spoil it. But she's basically the person who came up with the whole Spartan program, and she's probably the main character aside from the Chief. And we also another character who was in the Halo game, but the only character besides Chief and Cortana from the book actually appear in the game is Captain Keyes. I forget his first name, but he's the commander of the UNSC cruiser Pillar of Autumn in the game, and we learn a little bit more about his backstory. And we actually get to see some cool space battles from his perspective. Because we don't really see space battles at all in any of the games, maybe the later ones, but not in the early ones. So it's good to see some cool space battle action. Yeah, this is definitely one of the first video game tie novels that was really taking itself seriously, and it's pretty good book. Dark, it's a lot darker than you'll probably expect if you don't know what you're getting into. The first video game tie novels I think were the Doom ones, which are all pretty much just novelizations of cheesy 80s action type stuff, which is what the original Doom was, kind of, just with demonic stuff and loads of blood and gore. But the original version was published through Del Rey. Lately, there's been a reprint of it through Tor, along with all the other Halo novels. There's some revisions because some books sometimes need revising. There's the canon of the Halo series has changed a bit since then, so they revised that. I only have the original Del Rey version, and I bought it in the box set with the first two other novels, The Flood, which is a novelization of the actual game itself, first game, and First Strike, which is a prequel to Halo 2. This is a pretty good, well-written game. It jumps around a lot in time, a lot. Some of the other books afterwards do that, but not to the extent that this one does. At least it's been a while since I've read a Halo books. I stopped reading at Contact Harvest, but pretty you might know, but which isn't not a book. But yeah, Eric Nyland, he was a really good author. It's a shame they dropped him. I'm not sure what all the history is, but eventually, after Halo 3 came out, it looks like they totally dropped him, and now they have other authors doing it. And I've heard mixed results. I know Karen Travis did a run on it for a while. A lot of people actually didn't care for her run. Same thing with her take on Mass Effect. A lot of people didn't like. No, sorry, that was actually William C. Dietz, the one who wrote the Halo 1 novel adaptation that wrote that last Mass Effect book. Sorry about that. Though Karen Travis is supposed to be, her Gears of War stuff is supposed to be surprisingly good, and so her Star Wars stuff is mostly good. But anyway, so yeah, this is a surprisingly good book. If you've never played any of the Halo games, you just like good military sci-fi, check this book out. You might be pleasantly surprised. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. It's a surprisingly awesome book, and you don't have to worry. The later books don't jump around in time as much. But my only complaint is if you don't play video games, like I said, there's one novelization of the first game in the book series, but after that, I don't think there are any other novelizations of any other games. At least not all of them. So maybe if you want a whole story, you may be forced to play the game. But I will say that a lot of the hardcore sci-fi stuff and a lot of the character stuff is definitely lacking in the games. There's a couple of occasionally you'll see a little slide nod in the games of what happened in the books, but for the most part, the books like to, because obviously not everyone's going to read the books, so they try to make sure you don't need to read the books to understand them, and I almost kind of don't like that because because the universe is so much more dense than especially the first two games, Halo 1 and 2, make it seem. But like I said, if you like military sci-fi, this is definitely a really good book. If you like Starship Troopers, if you like Ender's Game, any of those books, if you haven't watched this, haven't read this, read this. I'm serious. It's a really good book. Dark, lots of action, space battles. I love those space battles. And it's the first. Like, there's some other good books. So I might review some other later Halo books. I haven't. It's still a while. I haven't read. I've only read the first few, but yeah. So check this book out.